It's been almost a month since Liverpool were rocked by West Ham. Since then, the Reds have been a goal-scoring machine, sweeping teams aside. Our neighbours across the park, the most recent to be humbled by Jurgen Klopp's men. I'm sure you're still on a high after that display at Goodison. Hopefully that high continues today with a tricky trip to face Wolverhampton Wanderers. Molineux, usually a happy hunting ground for the Reds, who've won all of their past 5 visits there in the Premier League. And it's a 3 o'clock Saturday kickoff for Wolves against Liverpool, building up to it all from 2 o'clock on LFC TV. And welcome along to the Matchday Live preview show presented by Standard Chartered. Gary Gillespie and Jason McAteer here in the studio to preview the game down at Molineux this afternoon. Before we look forward, we have to look back to a night that will live long in the memory. The Reds were ruthless. The Blues were something a little bit different.
Perhaps with an early question for one of them, and it was a free header too for Joel Matip. It's another chance, a half chance perhaps, for Mohamed Salah. Everton turn into that back six, and it's an early shot from Mo Salah. Always takes them early in those kind of positions. Robertson, good area this for Jordan Henderson, and it's nothing more than Liverpool deserved. Ball is on from Henderson for Sadio Mane. He's got Diogo Jota at the back post. He might not need him here, though. Mo Salah, he doesn't. And inside the first 20 minutes, he's probably put the game beyond Everton here. And there's a chance here for Everton to hit back, and they have, through Damari Gray. Liverpool just need to find something again here, and it could be here from Seamus Coleman's heavy touch, and it's Mo Salah all on his own again, has the pace and has the finish. What a lovely Liverpool goal, what an important Liverpool goal. Robertson, nice ball, Jota takes it beautifully. Diogo Jota puts the top hat on this Merseyside derby, a thing of beauty. What a night again for Liverpool at Goodison Park.
Gary Gillespie just asking what was the celebration. We'll have to ask that question at some point. Perhaps it's something that his kid watches, or the baby. Well, it's a baby now, isn't it? Something to do with the shark, perhaps. Anyway, it was brilliant, that performance, and it went completely with form, which doesn't always happen in a Merseyside derby.
Yeah, I mean, like you talk about the build-up of the derbies, and you're always a little bit reluctant to say that we are a little bit superior. But I just think that result, that performance, not just by Liverpool, but from Everton as well, I think it indicates the golfing class between the two sides at this moment in time. And, you know, we always say that form goes out the window in these games, but, you know, when you've got no momentum, and Everton have got no momentum at all, to be quite honest with you, and Liverpool just going into this game full of confidence, and it showed on the night. You know, I think apart from probably 10-15 minutes where Everton put us under a little bit of pressure, obviously that goal gives you a little bit like a shock, and you on a bit for the back foot, but to be quite honest with you, it never really looked in any doubt really from the first whistle, and it could easily been more had we taken these early chances.
I mean, I was going to say we debated, but we argued in the build-up show of how I felt Everton were going to pose a problem to Liverpool, and I couldn't see anything but a Liverpool win. And like Gary said, sometimes it's difficult in a derby to look the golfing class, and it's a foregone conclusion Liverpool are going to win. You try and build the game up to give Everton some kind of chance in the game. I thought the only way they could do it was to be physical, to bring Liverpool down to their level, and Liverpool were that good. They didn't even enter into that battle, into that fight. They kept possession, they moved it quick. Apart from the 10 minutes, like Gary said, you know, just before half-time when they got the goal and, you know, they were on the ascendancy. Probably half-time killed Everton a little bit, because Liverpool were on the ropes, you know, for that 10 minutes. The crowd got up, didn't they, and give Everton a bit more impetus. But once they come out for the second half, it was a proper professional performance from Liverpool. They were absolutely outstanding, and like I said, they never give Everton the chance to get physical. So all round, good night.
On the front foot of that was Jordan Henderson, who seems to be like the perennial kind of vintage wine. He just gets better and better, set the trend. It's a midfield with just a great look of experience and maturity about it at the moment.
Well, we talked in the build-up to this game. I personally think that's Liverpool's best midfield three. I think it's got everything. You know, Mohamed Salah gets all the headlines, obviously because he scores his 2 goals, and Jota gets a little bit as well. But I thought Jordan Henderson's performance was absolutely outstanding, and this is what he's, well, this is maybe what he's not all about, to be quite honest with you. On the edge of the box, you know, lovely little cultured left foot, a little bit of bend, aim outside the post, that brings it back in. Pickford on that occasion, absolutely no chance. But not just that goal, but the overall performance, leadership qualities that he's shown, you know, for probably 2 or 3 seasons now, not just this season. But especially in that game, I thought he was, for me, he was like our man of the match.
It's crazy. You look at, as a manager, and you look at the fixtures coming up, you go Everton, you look at your team sheet, you just got like that Jordan Henderson, first name. It's got to be first name in that game. I agree with Gary. I thought his performance individually was outstanding, but his leadership qualities, what he brings to that game, to that fixture for the Liverpool team and the dressing room, absolutely outstanding. It was hard to pick a man of the match because they all contributed, but he stood out a little bit more head and shoulders.
We're seeing the world's best goal scorer at the moment. There's no debate where that is to be said. But is he more rounded this season, Gary? We're seeing his assist levels almost as good as his goal scoring levels. He's just on a different stratosphere.
I personally just think that his work rate's better than what it was last season. I think he has a little bit more appetite for the game. Now, why that is, I'm not 100% sure. But you know, the amazing fact about Mohamed Salah, he wants to play every game. He doesn't, you know,
he doesn't come off the pitch either, does he? He plays every minute.
He doesn't miss games. He just does not miss games. You know, he's a constant in the Liverpool side, and his ability with that left foot, just because obviously defenders have to know exactly what he's going to do. Goalkeepers have to know exactly what he's going to do. He's going to come in more often than not and bend it into that far corner. But the fact that they know it, they still can't stop it. And he does it week in, week out, game in, game out. He's honestly phenomenal.
It's like Canelo's left hook, isn't it? You know it's coming, but there's nothing you can do about it. It's just
sends you fast asleep.
That's it. It's just phenomenal. And you know, I sat here in the post show and the Ballon d'Or come up, and you know, I'm going to say now, but I'm going to contradict myself. I can't understand how he was 7, but I can when it comes to FIFA and how they do things. You know, it's just beyond belief that his stats, his performances.
He gets punished, but because he's Egyptian, because Egypt don't figure in like world football.
Yeah,
and that's the only reason I can see, to be honest.
Yeah, and obviously what Messi and kind of Ronaldo bring to FIFA as a whatever, an institution, a brand. A brand. You know, it puts a sour taste in your mouth, because the likes of him and Lewandowski, Messi and Ronaldo, you can argue the last 10 years have earned the right to be the best 2 because of their numbers and their stats and their figures. And they have been absolutely outstanding, and no one has got near them. But there is a time where that ends, and it's sad, but it happens to everything. You know, they're on a downward spiral, the 2 of them, and we should celebrate now the players that are around and posting figures and put performances in, like Lewandowski, like Salah, and they should be winning the Ballon d'Or. How he's come 7th is absolutely beyond me. 7th, like I'm talking about, he should have won it. It's just.
And where stats are concerned and strikers are concerned, one going back to his former employers today, they're always tricky occasions, aren't they, playing against your former club? But here again, Diogo Jota right at the very top of those Premier League stats for scoring and assists. I
think when you look at the signing of Diogo Jota, I think people were probably questioning, like, you know, where's he come from? You know, he wasn't from what I can gather, like even myself, like doing the games that we've done before he came here when we played Wolves, he wasn't a player that kind of shone. He didn't, you know, stand out. If you were playing against the Wolves, you were looking at Jimenez, you were looking at Neves, you were looking at Traore. You probably weren't looking at Jota. But since he's come into the football club, he just fits the bill. You know, we talk about players coming in and being round pegs and square holes. He fits up. You know, he fits everything. He fits everything like the football club and a forward player at Liverpool has to be. He's got energy. He's got technical ability. He's got a goal scoring instinct in it. He's got everything that Liverpool need at this moment in time.
OK, to the boss now. And yesterday, Jurgen Klopp gave his assessment of what is to come from his side as they travel to Wolves. But first, he reflected on Liverpool's trip over to Stanley Park for that demolition in the derby.
That we were really completely in control of our emotions, which is very important, because it was never even close to a heated or whatever fixture. There was one situation, I think, when Diogo Jota was down, 2-3 players were around, these kind of things, and we really wanted to be as calm as possible. knowing that we need to be very aggressive as well, and all these kind of things. So it's a challenge to go in a game like this with the atmosphere we could have had in the game. But I think that the start of the game just calmed everything a little bit down, and finish off the game for sure as well. So yeah, it was a really good game. I said it was the best game from us at Goodison since I'm here, and what do we want more?
What do you make of Wolves? 3 clean sheets in a row, but they've only scored 1 in their last 4 games. So how do you approach this one?
First of all, I have to say a big compliment to the colleague there, because it's really impressive. The impact there. I think it was not so easy to go there after the long time. Nuno has been there, and then when everything is kind of settled and clear way of style of play and these kind of things, and he changed, and in a good direction, unfortunately. So it's a real football playing side with a real football playing idea. Neves is available again, so to get him together with Moutinho is a proper midfield, and whoever plays then on the wing and Jimenez up front, I'm really happy for him that he's back and that he came over all the misery pretty much. I'm really happy to see him back, and hopefully he will score a lot of goals apart from Saturday. But it's a good team, and it's really difficult to play. You're right, they didn't score now. They're not famous now for conceding a lot as well, and not even conceding a lot of shots on goal and these kind of things. So we have to be creative for sure. We have pretty much all datas we can have, and use them. And looking at that, then making a lineup which gives you a big chance to win the next football game. And this week it's the same. We changed quite a lot in the last few weeks. This week we play Wolves. Wolves played Wednesday as well, so both the same for both teams. So we will see what we do exactly. I didn't make the lineup yet, but I wouldn't expect now 7-8 changes.
Quite often talk about coupon busters, don't we? Teams that kind of the styles gel, and you look at Wolves who can't buy a goal. Liverpool are scoring bags full. What is it now? 43 in 14 games, which is staggering, averaging over 3 a game at the moment. That would be a real worry for Wolves today.
You look at their away record as well. Like, I mean, 4 goals in like the last 3 away games or something, like averaging like two a game, I think, away from home. Something. I mean, it's been phenomenal. Again, you go into this game, and it's one of these games that you think Wolves playing at the best can cause you, I think, problems. I think Jimenez is a big player for them. He's back, obviously. I think that helps them. The partnership in the middle of the park, they kind of got lost a little bit for a number of games. Neves and Moutinho, I think they've got it back a little bit together again. And I think the signing of Wang, for me, has helped them tremendously. I think I'm not saying the missing piece in the jigsaw, but him and Jimenez, they'll cause a lot of teams problems. But, you know, it's one of these games where you just think that Wolves at their best can cause Liverpool problems, but you look at Liverpool's form and the stats that you mentioned there, Peter. You know, they're blowing teams away from home. You've just got to be going into this game bags of confidence.
Jay, before we talk about Wolves, though, where Liverpool are concerned, and Trent has always been of interest to you because you played in a similar area on the pitch. We talked about Salah, but that right side, that triangle between Henderson, Salah and Trent is something clearly they've worked on and they're exploiting time and time again. How good has Trent been, do you think, this year?
I think his performances have been really, really good. I think the England scenario knocked his confidence a little bit. He picked up a couple of injuries around that time as well. He got back into it, but now he's fully into the flow of things. His form's good. He's up to speed, and he's just a complete modern day right back. I mean, when I say modern day, it's more advanced, isn't it? It's more attacking. You know, defensively, we always kind of put that little black mark against that, don't we, and say he can improve. But you know, do we have to take something away from his attacking prowess to make him a better defender, or do we, you know, how do we look at it? I think you've just got to go with it and just think, you know, I'd rather have him in a more advanced role, and if he gets caught out every now and again, then we're going to have to suffer that. It's the way we play. But I think the relationship he's struck up with Salah over the years has become absolutely phenomenal. I think Henderson gives them that defensive little bit of security. If he comes across and covers him. But I remember playing, you know, with Macca, and Macca was given the free role, Stevie Mack in our team, And I used to say to him, because I loved playing with him on that side, we had a great relationship. We used to tear defenders apart, me and him, and he'd drift because he had a free role. And I used to say to him, come and play over here. And when you get that understanding with someone, it becomes infectious. You want more and more of it. Obviously, it's more disciplined because Salah doesn't move around. He plays on that right. But I think as a partnership goes, it's the two of them are tremendous, and Henderson gives them that cover to make that triangle you were saying.
I actually think he's our best attacking player. He's our best option. Some of his passing is like sensational. Even in the derby, when it's tight situations, you're under a lot of pressure. He was making passes, you know, that were just to see and to actually execute them on the pitch. I thought fantastic. He does that on a regular basis. It's not just a one-off. When he moves forward, not just necessarily in these wide areas when he's producing crosses. I like him when he comes in a little bit narrow and he actually gets shots at goal from a right full-back position. He's one of our best, or if not our best, attacking players, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the stats, getting 25 goals in 7 games away from Anfield at the moment. When you go through this period where you're winning so many games, is your biggest fear being left out of the team today? I know we've got loads and loads of games in December and it's been something he's been worried about, Jurgen Klopp, but when you're a player and you're playing as well as you are and you have that momentum, you'd want to play every 2 days, presumably.
I think if you look at the team, I think, you know, there's probably, what would you say, 5 positions that you would probably talk about that are up for grabs. You know, if you're looking at it, Virgil's going to play, isn't he? Trent, Robbo, the keeper. You know, the manager doesn't really look at them as changing them around.
I wouldn't say up for grabs. I think you, as a modern day player, I think the understanding now is that there will be rotation within the starting 11, and I think that's what you've got to realise. And I think players and fans, you know, you go back when we were doing this, say 5-6 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, and fans are saying, well, why are you rotating the squad? Why are you leaving these players out? Play your best 11 on a regular basis. You don't hear shouts like that anymore. Fans have just accepted it because they've been drummed into them. I think they understand now, they appreciate now the workload that's on some of these players and the pace that these games get played at. You realise that you've got to rotate your squad. So I think throughout the course of this month you will certainly see rotation. And you know, you mentioned Van Dijk. For me, I think Van Dijk, I know he set his standards so high, but for me he's fallen below these so far this season on a couple of occasions. For me, Joel Matip's been the better of the two centre-backs in performances that I've seen. But in saying that, Virgil van Dijk, his presence is really valuable in that starting 11.
He's got a situation though where loads of the players are getting back to a point at which they're fit again. Maybe only 2 or 3 in the treatment room at the moment.
Yeah,
as well.
I don't think he carries sentiment. I sympathise if I'm thinking of players who have been taken out the team. Oxlade-Chamberlain, I really do, because I thought he was coming right up to speed. I thought his performance against Arsenal was outstanding. And then all of a sudden he got taken out the team. I think Thiago came in for him, and then I thought, he might come back in for the Everton game. I kind of wanted him to. I thought he fitted a little bit better.
I'm going to say, do you think he might be involved?
Possibly, yeah. But he's one of them players I feel gets better and better the more time he stays on the pitch. And then he was taken out the team, maybe because he was rested, and we don't know about the red zones and all this kind of stuff, but there are them players that I do feel sorry for when they get taken out the team. But the manager, he can't have sentiment. It's all about winning football matches, and the best team that does it has got to play.
Only missed out on one matchday squad, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain this year, and that was to become a dad, so he's getting that run of games. He's involved in all of the squads. Next up, we're going to look ahead to the game against Wolves this afternoon. Let's head to Molineux now, shall we, and catch up with Rob Jones, who's pitch side for us. Let's join him now.
Very good afternoon to you from an ice-cold Molineux for a game between two teams with what you would call contrasting styles. Liverpool, the great entertainers, the highest scorers across Europe's top 5 divisions. In contrast, Wolves' 14 Premier League matches this season have seen just 24 goals. Bruno Lage's side are difficult to break down, but they've found scoring themselves a bit of a problem as well. We're heading towards the stage of the season where Jurgen Klopp is regularly asked about fixture pile-up. He has negotiated himself well through all sorts of games over the course of the last few years, and you would back him to do the same again this season. And you would think that given that Tuesday night's game against AC Milan in the Champions League is pretty much a dead rubber from a Liverpool perspective. They're 5 from 5. They've already qualified. That would be the time for Jurgen Klopp to make changes, not today or the next Premier League game next weekend against Aston Villa. So expect, and in fact he's already alluded to it himself, Jurgen Klopp, there won't be too many changes today. Wolves don't really have the luxury of being able to make too many alterations themselves. They have just 3 fit centre-halves. You would expect Ruben Neves to come back into their midfield, having served a suspension, and then it's all about who partners Raul Jimenez, their top scorer, up front. Hee-Chan Wang and Adama Traore were the 2 in midweek when they drew against Burnley here 0-0. There's no Pedro Neto still with injury. Daniel Podence has had COVID, so they're pretty much down to the bare bones at the moment. Their subs bench on Wednesday night was very inexperienced indeed. Liverpool have always been given a tough match here at Molineux over the years, but they've always come away with the full 3 points. Jurgen Klopp has a perfect Premier League record in this part of the Black Country. He would love to keep that going today in this incredibly tense and exciting 3-way Premier League title race.
Thank you, Rob. Just what you need in ice-cold temperatures, the sprinkler behind you and the wind blowing it right in your face. It's going to be a long afternoon for him. How do you see Wolves at the minute, Jace? They've got a new manager. He's had to slightly change the style. And they've had a good October, got a good, decent November as well.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking there. He hasn't gone away from the formation. He stuck with the 3 at the back. I think they're quite solid and well organised when they come. They all know their jobs doing that. A couple of new faces, obviously, have come in. I was looking at them, you know, when I was doing sort of a bit of a research, and I didn't quite know how to look at it. I mean, I can paint this picture where I say they've only lost 1 in 9. They've had 3 clean sheets out the last 4. A couple of decent results. They're on a good run. Then you could argue, you know, they've only scored 12. You know, they've only scored 5 at home. Norwich and Burnley, they drop points, they've drawn. So you can kind of paint a poor picture of them, or you can paint a good picture of them. It's just how they want. I think as we take them as a team, I think they have found a bit of confidence. I think if they can get their strongest 11 on the pitch, then, like Gary said, they are a threat. They need to be respected. I know this is a good hunting ground for Liverpool. I think the last 5 games we've won here, haven't we? So, you know, but I'm not one for looking back. It's always different every game, no matter where you go. But I always think it's down to Liverpool. I think if we start well, as we have been, you know, it could be a long afternoon for Wolves if we get our tails up.
I think from a new manager's point of view, when you come in, like you try to make an impact. I think they lost their first 3 games of the season, didn't they? Didn't score a goal, and there's obviously questions going to be asked. I think he's a big plus for them. Jimenez coming back into the side has certainly helped them, no end. And he's got their act together, and you know they're difficult to score against. They find it difficult themselves to score goals. So like they have to find that balance where they are hard to beat, but they've got to obviously score the goals. And I think Wang, Traore, the likes of Jimenez as well, I think give them an opportunity to do that. But I think they're organised, they're hard working, and they've got flair in there. As I say, when you look at that midfield, like with Coutinho and Neves, like great passing ability, maybe not a great deal of legs in there, but they've found a system where like it works for them, and you know they find themselves quite high up the league. It's whether they can maintain it through the course of the season with the squad that they've got.
What you don't want from them is they actually create a lot of chances. They're just not clinical. Like Gary just said, they've only scored 12 goals this season. I think it's one of the lowest in the division, but they create a lot of chances. I mean, we talk about Traore or Jimenez coming back is a big plus for him. But Traore's talked about coming in today. You just don't know what you're getting from him. I mean, he hasn't scored or assisted this season in, I think, 12 games. So you just don't know what you're getting. But then he is the kind of player that can go and get a hat-trick.
Yeah.
So, you know, you've just got to be careful with this lot.
Another intriguing Premier League afternoon ahead, and we'll know an awful lot more about Wolves by the end of today. In fact, they play all of the title rivals to Liverpool in the next 16 days as well, so a really busy December where they are concerned. Big thank you to the boys. We will be back, don't forget, on LFC TV and LFC TV Go from 2 o'clock with a full hour's build-up, the Matchday Live build-up show where we'll hear more from Jurgen Klopp, as well as the thoughts of Bruno Lage and Takumi Minamino. Could be involved, couldn't he, in the next couple of weeks with the African Cup of Nations just around the corner. Aldo will join Steve Hunter for live audio commentary from 3. And then don't forget at 5, it's the Matchday reaction show with all the analysis as well as post-match interviews with the manager and players. Do join us on this Saturday afternoon if you can. From all of us here, bye for now.
Instinctive Liverpool.